powerful words or impactful. So you've touched on the word developing and developed. Obviously, your organization is called Developing.
Development, yeah.
So the development manager.
Yeah.
Is that a derivative of developing? Or how does that come from?
So basically, yeah, it's a great question. And that name was very carefully chosen. And notice I'm not saying we can only assume the status of manager. So I can't change your attitude. You have to do that for yourself. And I can't help an employer organization to go through make tech succeed in that organization. I can't do it for them. They will do it for themselves. It's something they have to assume. But what we can assume as an organisation is the management accountability for that positive development attitude of the person and the organisation. So we can effectively be not just an accountability partner for that process, but also somebody who puts that scaffold that I mentioned earlier for the development of the organisation into areas like data or cybersecurity or using tech properly or getting systems to automation, for heaven's sake. All these things are really important for employer organisations to be thinking about. And we can serve as the organisation that scaffolds that journey with the employer by being the organisation that scaffolds the journey for the person we call the apprentice.
Okay. So it's a slight tongue twister for me. So developing derivative in terms of development is a mindset. We can only control what we can control. The rest of it is about inspiring, but we don't necessarily have full control over that. So this is about leadership. It's about, correct me again if it's wrong. This is about leadership, and this is about us putting the right frameworks, the right systems, maybe processes, possibly creating the right environment.
That's right.
So help me out here.
So what I'm saying, the contrasting notion is the idea of the developed. So a developed nation. What I'm saying is, when I arrived here, there's the famous phrase of the presentees or presenteeism.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, famous phrases. Oh, God, it's Monday.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just work in it.
Yeah.
And all of these mentalities are prejudicial not only for the employer organisation and the economy as a whole, but actually for the person who's thinking that way. I'll tell you one of my least favourite phrases, work-life balance.
Balance.
I hate it.
You hate it.
No, not because I don't think people should have life as an important, that you should work, you should play, you should have friendships, you should have family, you should be committed to that. And so all of those things are an integral part of life. Work isn't the only thing in life. But the notion that your work is a counterbalance to your life and your life is a counterbalance to your work, for me, is a repugnant notion.
Right.
Because I think work is a principal part of how we live.
It's your identity. It's
your
who
identity.
You are.
And I think in developing notions, I noticed, I was exposed, Saf, to the more privileged in those societies where I lived. It was the people who could afford to learn English.
Yeah.
And so it was a subsection of the whole society. I'm being realistic.
Yeah.
But there was a drive and a hunger. And then when I arrived back in Britain, I'm just thinking, where's that gone? And there's a smugness and a meh in people's attitudes to life. And I just wanted to set up an organisation. And the other part of it was, as you say, I'm passionate about tech. And I do believe that technology, humans use tools, we always have. I mean, we were born with two frontal lobes and an opposing thumb. And as a consequence, we've always worked with different tools and experimented with them. And the emergence of technology is something that it drives us forwards if we start using the tools. There are ethical discussions, but put that to one side. The excitement is doing new stuff with new tools and new things in a positive and energetic way. So the notion of the development manager comes from this idea that I wanted to be an accountability partner that structured the development of a human in a positive attitude towards their working life, developing, and take on the management accountability for developing companies that give a great talent experience to these positive people, but B, benefit from a clearly articulated agenda and a clearly mapped learning plan that moves the organisation forwards by getting that person to move their career forward.
Canny Conversation Podcast Series 5 by Safaraz Ali.